I'm going to read the story, Roly Poly, Riley and Friends, Friends to the Rescue, by Greta Cole. Here he is, Roly Poly Riley. It was a lovely sunny morning as Riley was lying out on Mrs. Roberts' front veranda observing the day's activities. Down the street there was the local primary school, and he was watching all the kids go by. He was always entertained by their antics as they went skipping past. There was one girl in particular who always looked out for Riley as she went by. Even though she was a friendly girl, Riley was a little cautious of her as she always would try to pick him up and give him a cuddle if she could. He really wasn't in the mood for that, especially today. As usual, she yelled out, "Hello, Mr. Riley, I hope you have a perfecto day today," and then she would giggle as she continued on down the street. It was a standard joke, but Riley really wasn't amused by it. It wore thin after a period of time of hearing it. As time went by, the sounds of the kids' chatter and laughter subsided. Riley was really in his element of just being totally relaxed and absorbing the sun's rays. It didn't take long as the sound of paw nails were heard tip-tapping on the driveway. It was Captain Jack, his terrier friend from around the block, who was wanting some playtime with his pal. Oh, here we are, Captain Jack and Riley. Riley definitely wasn't going to move from his spot, even though he always enjoyed Jack's company. This morning he just wanted to blob out and enjoy the sun's heat. Jack realised that Riley wasn't going to move, so he plopped down beside him and joined him. A very cute scene indeed. Two furry friends stretched out, making the most of the hot morning rays. They were really enjoying the blob session until they heard a whack sound. It startled them and they both jolted up to see where the sound came from. It didn't take them long to figure out what it was. Here we go, a little blackbird. There on the concrete path lay a bird, a blackbird to be exact, and it looked like it had banged into one of Mrs. Roberts' windows and it had knocked itself out. Oh, yummo, Riley was thinking, but Jack was having none of that. Before Riley could get to the bird, Jack was there in a flash in protective canine mode, barking at Riley to keep away. The commotion soon brought out Mrs. Roberts. She hobbled over to where they were. "Oh, what do we have here?" she inquired. "Oh my goodness, it's a Tweety bird that doesn't seem to be in good shape," she shrilled. She scooped up the bird in her arms. "Here's the wee blackbird." By this time the blackbird was coming to and starting to squawk. "Calm down, wee feathered friend, you'll be right. I think we should take you straight down to the animal hospital." She was meaning the vet. She placed a blanket in the front basket of her scooter and lay the bird down in it and zoomed off down the street with both Riley and Jack close behind. There was a lot of activity down at the vet shop. The reception lady took one look at the injured bird and directed Mrs. Roberts to take it into one of the rooms where an animal doc was in. Here's the vet. Riley and Jack were told to stay in the waiting room. Riley was highly indignant about that. He felt like he was missing out on all the action. It seemed like a long time had passed before Mrs. Roberts, the blackbird, and the doc came out again. He gave Mrs. Roberts a bottle of medicine and gave clear instructions as to what she was to do with it. Apparently the blackbird had banged itself so hard into the window it had broken one of its wings. It now had a splint attached to it. The doc then came over to Riley and laid down the law, so to speak, that he was not to go near the injured bird while it recovered. He gave Jack a wink, giving the indication that he should take guard when he could. Here's a little blackbird with its injured wing. Over the next couple of weeks, the blackbird, who was now nicknamed Betty Beaker, as it had a larger than average beak, was being well looked after by the trio. Yes, trio! Funny, as Riley had developed a soft spot for Betty Beaker and was even meowing at Mrs. Roberts when he felt the bird needed some attention. And on top of that, when he had a chance, he would scout around in the garden for some bugs, snails, along with other creepy crawlies, and brought them in to Betty. Jack was impressed and would often give Riley a sloppy wet lick as he went past. Betty Baker recovered well, and before you know it, she was fit enough to be given her freedom. What a day that was! She was full of excitement and was fluttering around Mrs. Roberts' kitchen. She was stretching out her wings, getting ready for flight. Riley, Captain Jack and Mrs. Roberts were kind of sad to see Betty Baker go, as they had all grown rather fond of her. Mrs. Roberts took the bird outside and gave her a wee stroke down her back, and then lifted her up into the air. With a flap of her wings she was off. She did a circle around Mrs. Roberts' house, making high-pitched squawks as she went, maybe a bird way of saying thank you for all the care that was shown to her. That wasn't the end of seeing Betty Baker. Every so often she would pop in and see the threesome. She would swoop down and give both Riley and Jack a friendly peck, and would bring a flower for Mrs. Roberts to put in a vase. She had become a friend for life. That was the story, Roly Poly, Riley and Friends, Friends to the Rescue, by Greta Cole. Hope you liked it.